morning. Good morning. How are you? I hope you're safe and well, because that is the most important thing. Yeah, it's been a bit of a week at this end. I've been up in Scotland looking after mum in her care home, helping clear the house, and I'm knackered. So this week, Ali has done most of the newsletter, and she's picked up some really interesting things going on. First of all, there was a bulletin on Tuesday, which I totally missed, and she said, hang on a minute, they're withdrawing 63 biocide substance / product type combinations in the UK. And I was like, oh my God, 63. How is that going to help with resistance? And the answer is it isn't. Now, Ali's done a bit of analysis on this, and she goes into it in detail in this week's newsletter. So all I can do is really highlight this for you and point you towards what the HSE have done. So I'm just going to put a link below this video now. There you are. And there are so many of these withdrawals going on that what happens is you go to that web page, you click on the link for the BPR list itself and download it, and then they've put an extra tab in. So the tab is called GB Supplementary Bulletin Info, and that's where the list of everything that's being withdrawn sits. And I think it's this summer when things have to be removed from the market, but things are already on the market, as in physical items already on the market. By that date, we'll be able to sort of pass through the supply chain. So, but again, I'm not a biocides expert, so do your own research on that, please. But yes, Ali reckons that some of them are defunct, but some of them will have an impact. And like I say, it's in the newsletter, which is at chemicalscoffeetime.co.uk. And I will just pick that up for you as well, if you're not already a subscriber, then there is a lot each week in there that you may find interesting. Hang on, let me put the correct thing in. Sorry, I'm not awake yet. And that is just going in just now. So yes, so that's pretty big news if you're using biocides in your formulations or whatever here in the UK. And it is worrying because, as we've been banging on in the newsletter, and to anybody who will listen, it's really super important to have as broad a range of biocidal substances and as broad a range of product types with, different combinations of biocide, different strengths of biocide across the board, because otherwise you run the risk of resistance. And not only resistance in one area, you run the risk of it sort of popping across to another area. For example, a cleaner that's used in X may then give a problem in hospitals. It's that sort of thing. You've got to be super, super careful with biocides. They are incredibly useful, and at the same time, they're fragile. It's a fragile situation because we're in this kind of arms race between the bugs and the products themselves. And I think that's another reason why, personally, I'm always a massive fan of using physical methods to destroy unwanted microorganisms in the first instance, which they can't fight against, and only using biocides as a backup. Now you might go, well, what the hell do you mean by that? And it's really simple. If you heat bugs up to about 60 degrees, they will generally die. And certainly if you do a boil wash, for example. So I think it's better to use the energy and do a hot wash to destroy the bugs on soiled laundry, for example, rather than doing a cool wash and using a biocidal laundry detergent. Because, like I said, the bugs can't fight against the heat. It destroys their cell walls. Similarly, using bleach is good because, again, there's a physical action, or hydrogen peroxide, physical action destroying the cell walls, or indeed soap. They haven't got anything in their armory to fight against that. But when it comes to biocidal products in the chemical sense, then that's the point you can get resistance developing. So I think that we should use biocides sparingly as a last resort, but when they're needed, my goodness, they are needed. So yeah, it does annoy me a bit, this business about, green issues, as it were. Climate change, we shouldn't wash at 60 or 90 or whatever. No, this is somewhat bigger than a putative potential, perhaps, impact on climate change. By the way, are you aware that carbon dioxide is a plant food? But, you know, it's more important than that. And I think that there are certain things where using heat to kill or using bleaches of whatever sort, chlorine bleach, peroxide bleaches to kill, is a damn sight better idea than using chemical biocides. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Apologies for that. That bit isn't in the newsletter, by the way. You're quite safe. So anyway, that's the UK situation. And yes, it does worry me. The EU side of things, well, have you looked on the registry of CLH intentions lately? Because not only were a whole load adopted by the RAC just before Easter, but we've got another 5 which have been signed up potentially to become harmonised classifications in the EU. And I am putting the list here. And you might go, well, it's not brought in. You know, you're always saying to us, don't do things until they're published. Yes, when it's regulation. But when we're looking at things like harmonised classification, it's really important to know what's coming, so you've got an early warning on what might come in, because there's nothing worse than suddenly waking up one day and finding, oh, a new harmonised classification in the EU means we can no longer sell that product. So it's important to keep an eye on the CLH intentions, which also give us a heads up into what's going on in GB as well. Keep an eye on that to see if there's something coming down the line. Do you have data you want to pass forward at this point? Do you want to give them information that no, there's nothing else that can do this, and they shouldn't be going too far down the harmonised classification route, for example? So it's a really good thing to do, because, like I say, you will see the future a bit with that. So that's the EU. We've done the UK. What's the other thing? Well, it's time for reasons to be cheerful. And I came across a Monty Python sketch, which is very appropriate for Easter, which is, what have the Romans ever done for us? So I am just going to pop the link in here, and it's one I've not given you before, but it is an absolute classic. So there you go. Whatever you're doing today, I hope you have a great day. I hope you're not too tired from all the things that you've been doing over the holidays. Guilty as charged. And I hope to chat to you again next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye.